Gold has been a great investment this year. If you zoom out, it's not been a great investment. And don't get sold the snake oil by people claiming that you need to go put all of your money in gold bars or gold bullion or whatever it's called.
Welcome to Upticks with Jake Falcon, founder and CEO of Falcon Wealth Advisors. In this podcast, we help high net worth individuals overcome financial complexities. We do this by enhancing financial literacy and discussing topics in a language free from industry jargon. Join us as we help explain exactly what having a solid financial plan means, as Jake draws from years of experience in helping hundreds of individuals get financially organized and focused on their goals. We hope you find Upticks educational, entertaining, and shareable. Now, on to the show.
Welcome back to Upticks with Jake and Cory. Cory, welcome back to the show.
Jake, thank you for having me. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, Cory. As you know, I joined another country club. Credit to me.
How about that?
So I joined Oakwood Country Club, a old local Kansas City course that's been revived by a new owner. And I'm real excited about it, Cory. I'm very excited to bring clients out there and to spend time with Rachel and our friends and family. It is a 18-hole championship course. It's got a par 3 course, Cory. It'd be good for you. And the driving range has something called TrackMan, where you literally can track every shot. So it'll tell you how far it went, how high it went, your ball speed, right or left. Pretty sweet, pretty cool place. I've known the owner for a long time. So I said, why not? It's off of Bannister Road and 71 Highway. And it's really pretty. It's like carved out of a forest. So I have to take you out there, Cory. That's what's new with me.
Very cool. I will play that par 3 course. Maybe they need a putt course for me, Jake, but I'll give it a shot.
Ooh, they have a putt course. That might be better for you, Cory.
I'm in.
I didn't mention that. They built this really cool, it's huge. I don't know how big it is. It might be an acre, maybe not an acre. Maybe it's a half acre or a quarter acre, but it's huge. It's got big rolling hills and it's lighted. So you could literally go out there in the evening.
That's pretty cool.
In the summer when it's cool, turn on the lights and just hit putts. You know, you could get yourself a cocktail. We could grab some pizza or something, and kind of cool. Really cool place.
Excellent.
So what's new with you? Baby Bittner is the countdown here, Cory.
That's what's new. That's what we are waiting for. You know, one step at a time. It's great, though. I will tell you, Jake. So let's see here. June 13th is the due date. So Cassie's almost at 38 weeks as of our recording here. Going to see the doctor weekly. But just last night, we were having dinner. It's like, you know what? We're ready. There's nothing else that we need to do.
Well, I hope so.
Like we're there, and now it's just a matter of time and waiting. So we're trying to really just soak it up and enjoy the last couple of weeks, just the two of us, and we're getting excited.
Good. Well, I'm very happy for you guys, and I'm sure all of our clients are excited for you as well. And hope everything goes smoothly, and then you got a baby on your hands, and you're becoming dad. So that's really exciting for you. I'm really happy for you guys, and I know that you've committed to continue to record Upticks while you're having those sleepless nights with a newborn. So I'm excited to see how that goes. And I appreciate that, and good luck. Quick plug too, Cory, I got Retiring Right is out. The reason I wrote this book, Cory, was to enhance financial literacy. It's available out there on Amazon. So please, all of our listeners and viewers, go out there, pick up your copy, give me some feedback. You can email me directly, jake@falconwealthadvisors.com, if you have any specific feedback for me on the book. I wrote this book to help people, and hopefully it helps you, the listener out there. Also, Cory, I wanted a quick plug to our team at Falcon Wealth Advisors. There's now 20 professionals that work with us. You and I have hand-selected our team. We have trained them, and we are supremely confident in their ability to serve our clients. So I just wanted to continue to reiterate, for clients, Cory, that have a question about their statement or distribution, it does them no good to email you or me. No good, right? Let's email service@falconwealthadvisors.com. That goes to basically everybody but me and Cory. And those professionals, Cory, that we have hired, that we have trained and developed, are there to support our growing client count. Cory, we have almost 800 clients. If you are spending time emailing people about a Schwab statement or distribution, you are not doing what you are here to do, which is advise clients, set up financial plans, and manage some of the complex issues that clients come to us for. So again, I just want clients to know that rather than keep our practice very small and you and I try to have a hand in everything, we said, no. We want to focus on what we are uniquely good at, and we want to hire other people that are better at dealing with Schwab distributions or statements or general planning questions or general investment questions. We have a whole team of people that can help answer those questions for you. And all you need to do is email service@falconwealthadvisors.com. All right, good. Cory, you got anything else before we go into today's topics?
No, I'm glad you mentioned that. It's a good plug. Let's play ball.
All right. I saw you shaking your head here. All right. Cory, why don't you lead us off here?
All right, Jake, gold has gone gangbusters. Retirement savers shouldn't get carried away.
Yes, I don't know if you've paid much attention to this, Cory, but gold has had a heck of a run this year. But most people don't know this. It's still, even with the great run-up it's had, it's still one of the worst performing asset classes out there. Now, and again, let's be very clear here. The whole point of Upticks is to not give you advice. So I don't want you to take my comments here and go start buying gold. My point is that we may or may not be okay with having some gold in a well-diversified portfolio as a hedge on inflation or something to buy and sell as it goes up and down. But we're not okay with clients wanting to load up all of their savings or all of their retirement and get caught, Cory, in this gold rush commercials that are starting to pop up out there. So again, gold has been a great investment this year. If you zoom out, it's not been a great investment. And don't get sold the snake oil by people claiming that you need to go put all of your money in gold bars or gold bullion or whatever it's called. And so just be aware of it. It's had a great run up. It may or may not make sense in your portfolio. If you have a question about that, let us know. And let's just be mindful that it's one asset class and many asset classes that are out there. Cory, you have any thoughts on gold?
I think the psychology is the same there, Jake, about loading up on any one specific asset. What I think is interesting, though, to your point, is that nobody wants to load up on gold when it's not doing well, when there's not commercials, when it's not being discussed. When that, again, we want to buy low and sell high, not do the opposite.
Good point. Yeah, if anything, yes. So if anything, again, this is not advice, but if anything, you'd want to visit gold. If you do have gold, and good point, it's high right now. Now is the time you should potentially consider selling it. First, meet with your advisor and talk about your financial plan. But you're right, Cory. Good point on that. All right, good. Let's go on to the next one here. But first, Cory, a quick plug and commercials for Upticks. I've been very humbled. Our subscriber count continues to grow. Again, just like my book, Retiring Right, the whole point we're recording Upticks every week, Cory, is we want to enhance financial literacy. So please like and share our content. Thumbs up, 5-star reviews are greatly appreciated. We're not getting paid by any sponsors, Cory, to do this, right? Gillette is not sponsoring us to do this. We're taking time away from our team and our clients so that we can hopefully help some people at scale. So again, thank you for everyone tuning in and listening. And we're going to continue to do Upticks because we enjoy doing it. We want to help people. All right, Cory, in the next 5 years, avoid these financial mistakes. Cory, I'd love to take a pause at each one so you and I can talk about it. So what's number one?
The first one, failing to maximize retirement contributions, specifically during the peak earning years and when catch-up contributions are an option.
Yeah, exactly. So these are for people at retirement or pre-retirement, or heck, even in your 20s. Make sure you're saving just to save. And what's great about our process, Cory, we can build out a financial plan and show you if you save X versus Y, what is that impact going to look like over 10, 20, 30, 40 years? So good. Save, maximize those contributions. I know it's boring and not the sexy thing to do, but compounding works. Good. What's number two?
Number two is not analyzing Social Security options. And one thing I found interesting, and I should point out that this article specifically was written, Jake, for people that are at least thinking they're going to retire in the next 5 years, which I think is aligned a lot with what you wrote in Retiring Right. So the second point that they make here is that not analyzing Social Security options, specifically around longevity, that's a big factor in the Social Security decision. As morbid as it is, no one knows when their time comes. The reality, though, is the decision around Social Security needs to be analyzed from a few different perspectives, as opposed to just saying, I'm going to wait till 70 to get the maximum amount, or I'm going to turn it on at 62 to start collecting as early as I can. There's a lot more nuance to it than that.
Yeah, it's a really tough subject though, Cory, because again, people don't know. And so
Correct.
how can you advise? So what do you do? How do you advise someone, Cory, when they don't know how long they're going to live and you don't know how long they're going to live? So what do you talk about when you're talking about 62 versus 70 and anywhere in between, by the way? So what do you talk about with clients?
The first thing I show them really is their financial plan, right? If you are retired and you need the income from somewhere and you begin collecting it from your own investment accounts and you delay Social Security, understand simply what the math and the numbers tell us, what the break-even point is, when that's going to have a material positive impact. The other piece of it around that, Jake, I think that's important for people to consider is just their own personal health, their family health history is, again, as morbid as that can be, the reality is that's a big influence on when the best time to turn on Social Security is, but it's also the big wild card that none of us know the answer to.
Yeah, good.
What do you tell
Three?
people?
Same. I mean, we crunch the numbers. Yeah. I plug it in their plan. I'll have the planners run an analysis. So again, Jake Cross and his crew do a great job with running different Social Security maximization strategies. And again, we're all dealing with an unknown. So really all I care about, Cory, is that the plan works. And I don't really care what decision they make because we don't know. So it doesn't really matter to me what a client chooses. All I care about is that their financial plan works. And if there's a clear difference in their plan failing versus not failing, then obviously that's the road I'm going to try to guide them down. Other than that, it doesn't matter to me because you can't predict the future. So
that's good. Okay.
Good.
Step number 3, Jake, is taking on unnecessary debt. And what was interesting about this was consider debt payments when you no longer have a paycheck, which I think psychologically is really helpful, especially if somebody's, if someone's moving, buying a bigger house, whatever it might be, they're 5 or 10 years away from retirement. They really highlighted in this article, think about any debt that you're servicing if you don't have a paycheck anymore.
Yeah, there's nothing like going into retirement debt-free or going into retirement with only a mortgage, maybe one that you've had for 15 years and you've got 15 more years left on it. It's tough to see people buy the boat, buy the truck, buy the fifth wheel, buy the new home, and have $40,000 in super high interest credit card debt, and then they retire. I'm telling you, from literally, Cory, I've had thousands of meetings with people preparing to retire. Those clients that have a lot of debt, their retirement tends to be a little bit more stressful. And that's not why people are looking to retire normally, because you said it perfectly. What if you don't have a paycheck? What if the market goes down, right? What if you need more money because of a health issue or your kids need help? And now you got all these other debt payments to make. Those retirement scenarios are typically a little bit more bumpy. And so I agree. I still want people to enjoy their lives. And if your plan is to buy a fifth wheel and retire and service that debt, that's fine. Just make sure it works in your financial plan and understand what you're getting into. Good.
Very good. Very good. The fourth mistake here to avoid is investing like you're 25. There are different strategies to grow and build wealth than there are to preserve it. And the accumulation stage and the decumulation stage in retirement, when you're spending your money, the whole investment strategy changes completely. And that what you started doing 30 or 40 years ago, in all likelihood, is not the exact same thing that you should continue to do to and through retirement.
This is a good one, Cory. Yeah, this is a big mistake that I think we help clients avoid. Many, many times, Cory, I will meet with a potential client and their portfolio will be way more aggressive than it needs to be, or way too conservative than it needs to be. And so it's finding that middle ground and what is going to set you up to be able to not only grow your assets over retirement, but also be able to pull, like you said, draw down those assets in retirement. And it's a completely different type of portfolio than when you're just saving and letting it ride, for lack of a better term, when you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and even 50s. Because if that money needs to be there to service your debt or pay your mortgage or buy food, then you don't want the market crashing and impacting that. So again, asset allocation leading 5 years into retirement is a big mistake that people make, and we're happy to help you with that. Good one.
All right. Next is overspending on children. I made a note here, cause and effect. It's just understanding if someone is supporting particularly adult children, what exactly they're supporting, what they're spending the money on, and what the long-term impact that's going to be. Because it's not, from my point of view, it's not about judging what someone's doing or how they're spending their money, but it is understanding what the impact is on their long-term plan.
Yeah, and again, I don't have kids yet. Hopefully I do someday. You're about to have a kid. I got to believe this is very difficult because at some point, I mean, you're a parent,
Yes.
you need to nurture, but at some point you're also enabling. So how do you give that tough love? And I think the best thing to do would to get some help. You can't do this alone. So let us be the bad guy. Let us tell you, hey, you can't pay your kids rent anymore because you're going to run out of money. Let us tell you that if that's what's going to help you have that tough conversation with your kid, or maybe go to a family therapist and have a talk about like, hey, I feel like I want to help you because I love you, but I'm also enabling you and you're starting to damage my retirement. But I really want to encourage people not to do this on their own, that to work with an unemotional, trained third party professional, because it's going to be emotional. It's going to be hard. It's easy for me to say, but your daughter, when she's 25, are you still going to want to pay her rent? You're probably not. I don't think so,
No.
but you might. But it's going to be a different story, right? 25 years from now, who
Correct.
knows?
Exactly.
So again, I think getting help is the big one on that to avoid that mistake. Don't try to do that alone. It's a hard one. Good. What's our
Yeah.
last one, Cory? But go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. One more thing though. I just think the awareness of that, like if mom and dad spend enough of their own money helping their kids and it ends up where everybody's in a situation where no one has anyone to rely upon or nobody has anyone to, backstop them, that just doesn't help anyone. And that's why if it's a challenge or an issue, it's why seeking help out, like you said, and having those conversations is good because if not, it just leads towards a path that's not good for anyone.
Right. Right.
All right. The last mistake to avoid here, Jake, neglecting to plan for your desired retirement lifestyle. This article highlighted some people that just misunderstood or misplanned what they wanted to do in retirement. But my point of view, the easiest way to reduce the friction or that mistake is to have a plan that includes spending before you retire. Understand what your financial plan reflects and understand what's important to you and how you're going to spend your money in retirement. Because we talk about this with clients. Some people really struggle actually to spend money once they retire because they've worked for so long to build it up. If they feel guilty or it feels wrong to spend it, I think most people start working and saving for retirement so they have money to spend when the time comes. But that's not as simple as just flipping a switch.
Right. So exactly. Building out a financial plan. I think it's a good thing that we do for clients is we'll also stress the plan. So if you tell us you need 10,000 a month, we'll show you how much you can afford. Is it 12? Is it 15? And that way you have that cushion. And we've talked about this a lot, Cory, but the go-go years in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, that's when we want clients spending money. Because what will happen in your 80s and 90s, you'll be in your slow go, and then eventually your no-go. And again, I get it. Some people might want to leave $20 million to their kids, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. A lot of our clients don't want to do that, though. And so if you don't want to leave $20 million behind, then you're going to need to spend some money in your go-go years more than likely. And we want to crunch those numbers and be a guide for our clients. But you're right. It all comes to a financial plan. Everybody's situation is different. That's what's awesome about what we do, Cory. We're not cranking out widgets here on an assembly line and everybody's plan looks the same. And we're not creating a financial plan and not looking at it for 3 years. I mean, how many times have you had somebody come in here into our office and say, oh yeah, my guy or girl, they created a plan for me, but I haven't looked at it in 4 years. It's so stupid to me.
What's the point?
That advisors create these plans and then they don't update them with their clients. And Cory, that's why we literally have 5 financial planners on our team to take those meetings with our clients. Because you and I can't, I mean, for you to stay married and for me to stay married, it doesn't make any sense for us to meet with 800 clients. I'd be divorced. My wife would be like, "You're never here," right? And so instead, we have hand selected, we have trained and developed financial planners who are here for our 800 clients to meet with them and go over their plans. And of course, you and I are available if something wacky happens and we need to be there. Good article, Cory.
Really good.
What magazine or newspaper was this in?
This was in the Wall Street Journal, and I thought they did a really good job of highlighting some things for people to think about, especially if they're within 5 years.
Right.
The same way that you did in your book, Jake.
There you go, Cory. Good job plugging that book.
All right. Are we ready to move on?
We got time for two more.
All right, Jake, the new math of driving your car until the wheels fall off.
All right. I got a lot of clients, Cory, that drive their cars for a long time. I'm curious. I don't know if you looked at my notes on this, but do you know the average age of U.S. vehicles today or 2023? 2023? What's the average age of vehicles? What's that?
10-ish years, 10 years or so.
Go ahead. Did you read the article?
No.
So 12 and a half years. So you're pretty close.
Okay.
Do you know how many shares of cars that are 10 or more years old? Like how many out there on the road are 10 years or older?
Ooh, I don't know. 30%? 40%?
44 in 2022. Now, in 1977, it was only 17%.
Wow.
Yeah. So owners typically consider unloading their vehicle when they learn of a repair that will cost 10% or more of what they would pay for a new one. Now, this is according to someone with the last name Drury over at Edmunds. But he cautions people that they tend to underrate the value of paying for the major fix. So I was curious, Cory, I know you lease, but when you owned, did you have a rule like, I don't know, the average car might be 60 grand, let's just say, an SUV, truck, car, whatever. So if a car repair was going to cost you $6 grand, would that cause you to go and get rid of your car and go buy a new one? I don't think it would for me.
No.
My big issue is dependability and reliability. That's really my most important item of why I would get rid of a car. Like I don't want to be stranded on the road. I want a safe car. And that's really what I care about personally. Now I know that also means I could drive my car probably to 200,000 miles. I don't. I had a general rule with Rachel that I don't know if we'll follow was 100,000 miles, we'll get a new car. You lease, so you're completely different. Cassie, does she own her car or is she leasing?
No, she owns it. It's almost paid for. So actually, we'll probably be having more conversations about this in the future.
Is she going to want a new one as soon as it's paid for?
No, she won't. That's the thing, though. My wife, Cassie, got her first car, Jake, at 15, and she drove it until she was almost 30.
Good for her. Was it new at 15?
No, not new.
Wow. Good for Cassie.
Yeah, she definitely was contributing to the record age moving higher of cars on the road. But the point there, though, is that for her, it is a reliable vehicle. It's nice. It's almost paid for. And we put so few miles on cars in the first place because we live close by the office and I spend a lot of time here and at home and a few places in between. But the point there is that it all boils down to someone's situation and circumstances, I think. And I don't know really, Jake, if this article was pointing out the fact that more people should consider repairing cars before they replace them or vice versa. And maybe it wasn't advocating for either or, but I think that the idea of going to replace a car if a repair is going to cost 10%, like that just does not seem to make sense to me as like an automatic rule for anyone to have.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I didn't like it either.
Priced the way they are.
Right. I agree. I think you have to look at what gives you joy. Like if you are willing to sacrifice something else for a nice car, like you lease, paying rent basically for a car.
Yep.
But you know what? You're okay with that. You get a new car every few years. You don't have to worry about a thing.
Everything's covered.
And you're okay with that. I'm taking a different approach. My car is paid for. Mm-hmm. It's a 2017. It's got very low miles, just like you. I don't drive a lot. I'll go down to Texas or I'll drive to Tulsa, but I don't really drive. My office is very close to my house. and my golf courses. And so I don't drive a lot,
Right.
and I can't really justify just getting a new car. I'd rather spend that money on something else. The thing people need to remember, Corey, is that most times your car is depreciating in value. And so
Yes.
it's a losing game if you're going to buy. I think leasing, there's some merit there, but buy a new car every 3 or 4 years, you're just losing money on it. You're constantly losing money and you're never really getting ahead. So the good news with leasing is normally it's a lot cheaper than ownership payment. So you're not losing. You're still not making money because you're not building anything. But at least you're not spending. I think the worst thing someone can do is have a high car payment, not pay it off, trade it in, and keep doing the same thing over and over again. If you're going to do that, then I would suggest, and again, this is not advice, but I would consider leasing if you're going to trade in your car. And I know you're a financial advisor, so that's why you're doing that, because you've crunched the numbers and you're like, look,
Yep.
my payment's less than if I was buying this thing. I get a new car every few years. I get the latest technology, the best safety features. I don't have to worry about maintenance. There's a lot to be said about that. I just took a different approach where I got exactly what I wanted. I paid it off. And then you know what I did, Corey? After I paid it off, I had it wrapped. So basically like a paint job with a different color
Yeah.
that was way less than buying a new car and made me feel like I got a new car. Maybe I'll wrap this one again in a different wrap in 3 or 4 years and I'll just keep driving it. So I don't know, but I don't think there's a perfect answer. I just think that you have to understand that most of the time you're going to lose money on a car. So you have to be aware. Unlike a home that typically goes up in value, you're not trading in your car for more than you bought it. So go ahead. You have a thought?
I was just going to say, this is a good conversation though, Jake, because I think I was thinking to myself through this, like your approach with your vehicle, you have it paid off, you have it wrapped. But I was thinking about this, the amount of money that I spend on golf, for example, relative to you, right? It's a matter of what's important. Like I don't spend money on golf, but I have leased. I'm on the fourth vehicle that I've leased. One of them we bought at the end of it. And it's worked really well. It's worked in the plan. I've crunched the numbers. It makes sense, but it really, the point is that there's not a right or wrong for anyone. It boils down to what's right or, what makes the most sense for someone's individual circumstances, which is why we do this planning. It's why we have these conversations and why we're hosting the show.
Good. Excellent, Corey. All right, let's wrap it up. We got time for one more here. Quick one here, Corey. Break the 4% retirement rule. Here's what works better.
All right. So this was from Barron's, and they talked about how a hard number, the 4% rule, we've talked about this on the show before, but real quick, this was something that was, penned years ago, and a lot of people have just sort of looked at as, I don't know if I would say the standard, but something a lot of people are familiar with. If you retire, withdraw 4% of your portfolio in year one and adjust that number for inflation, and you ought to be okay in the long run. It's like the general rule there. They're arguing here, though, that a hard number like 4% is inflexible. The key, though, Jake, for us also as advisors is providing better guidance versus agreeing on a hard number or a percentage. So a more customized, personal approach that does take things like longevity into consideration, that takes things like someone's debt into consideration, and even market conditions can make more sense. But I thought it was interesting that quoted in this article suggested, Jake, that most people will not live as long as their financial plans assume, and that they were actually arguing that a lot of people shortchange themselves in terms of what they withdraw from their portfolios and spend in retirement, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's good, Corey. Yeah, I don't know if never, but I'm pretty sure I've never been a fan of this 4% rule. It's way too cookie cutter. I guess maybe if you're doing this on your own and you don't have an advisor, you don't have a plan, you don't know what you're doing, maybe, but that still might not even work. So I agree. Some years for our clients, Corey, it's 8%. Some years for our clients, they don't pull any money out, right? Maybe they got inheritance. Maybe they sold their car or they got a bonus. Maybe they get a severance, and instead of pulling money out, They don't pull any. So again, it's far too nuanced. It needs to be custom. It needs to be tracked. We do track that though, which I'm proud of our financial planners. For every one of our clients, Corey, that is pulling actively from their accounts, we will track it. We'll tell them you're pulling at 5%, you're pulling at 3%, you're pulling at 6%. So our clients know. And then we compare that to their average rate of return to make sure they're not overspending or drawing down their assets quicker than they're growing. And if they are overspending, we give them guidance on saying, hey, you need to find a way to cut it. You need to cut it because you're going to run out of money. And so that's the key with that. So again, we don't like the cookie cutter 4% rule. We do track the withdrawal rate is what it's called. And we compare that to the client's financial plan and their average rate of return. And that's really what I think matters.
Exactly.
Very good. Well, thank you, Cory. Another fantastic episode. Thank you, as always, for joining me. And thank you to all our listeners and viewers out there. We really appreciate it. If you have any comments or questions that you want Cory and I to address live here on Upticks, simply email Luke@FalconWealthAdvisors.com, and he'll make sure that we get a copy of your question. Thank you again, Cory, and we hope all of you out there have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Upticks. Click the subscribe button to be notified when new episodes become available. Also, be sure to visit our website, FalconWealthAdvisors.com, and click the Contact Us button if you'd like to meet with Jake and his team.